Hello everyone. Sorry I'm a bit late again. My timekeeping is dreadful. Anyway, I'm just going to put some sunscreen on while you're all joining me. And tell you about my week. So last week I didn't post on Friday. Ooh, someone's already like this. I bet that's Pamela who's joined me. Is it Pamela? Hi Pamela. Sorry I'm late. I know you set your alarm for me. So let me tell you about my week. I'm just putting some sunscreen on. I'm not putting the zinc oxide on because it makes me go really white. It is good, but I'm just putting the Heliocare one on. Hi Thorndyke. Oh, it's great to see you guys. So last week I went to get my shoes and they messed up the order and I was really feeling quite low because my feet are very sore. I was looking forward to, even though they're not glamorous, they're medical NHS shoes. I was looking forward to having comfortable feet and they've messed up both pairs. So one pair they hadn't ordered after 6 weeks and the other pair were there, sitting there waiting for me in a box and had been through about 4 checks and no one had realised that one shoe had lace-ups and the other was Velcro until I got there to the appointment. So I was pretty annoyed. Anyway, this week, so at the weekend, my other half got norovirus. Then Jack got it, so he's off school. He got over it in no time. My other half took a couple of days. Jack, being a kid, was like sick once and over it. And I feel like the condemned woman because I'm waiting to get it and I, touch wood, haven't got it yet. I'm figuring that basically I was livid. Do you know what, Thorndyke? I was livid, but I was. Do you know how people say that depression is frozen anger? That's how I felt when I felt really depressed, and it was frozen anger. That's exactly what it was. I could have actually screamed at that moment, but instead I came out and burst into tears. So it's one or the other you're going to do, isn't it? Anyway, so this week I feel like the condemned woman, but I have a theory. If I don't get this, that my foot is so busy trying to fight off an infection getting into my ulcer that it's forgotten my stomach. And that's why I haven't got norovirus. Anyway, that's my theory. I'm just putting on some Flawless Filter. And I have a feeling, I know this looks dark, but you know what? Yesterday I was putting some makeup on and I thought it matched my skin perfectly because my skin does get paler in the winter. And I thought it was a really good match. And I only put a bit of foundation on because I wasn't going out anywhere. And my other half walked in and he went, "Whoa, God, you look like a ghost." And I went, "Do I?" And he went, "It's the makeup. It's the makeup." You know what? Thank you, Thorndyke. I wouldn't say, to be honest, I have my moments off camera. I don't want to come on here and be all depressed and whatever. But the thing is, at the end of the day, you don't really have a lot of choice. You have to kind of get on with it, you know. I mean, I was low about it on Friday and I couldn't bring myself to do a video because I was feeling quite sorry for myself. And that's what it was. I was feeling sorry for myself. And no one wants to see a woman feeling sorry for themselves on YouTube. But at the end of it, I just thought, you know what, I've just got to get on with it. Because it's not going to make the shoes come any sooner. And I'm sure when I go to Foot Health tomorrow, I'm going tomorrow to have my feet done this week. I am sure that they're going to be absolutely livid when they find out that my shoes are not going to be here for another 8 weeks. And I'll let them take that up with them. What was really awful was that they put these shoes that were, one was Velcro and the other was lace up. They put them on to try them on for the fit and they felt like I was putting my foot into a cloud. And then they took them off and sent them back. That was horrible. But there you go. Never mind. Right, I'm going to put some Giorgio Armani. And I want you to choose today. That's what. While I put my foundation, I want you all... I know there's a couple of you on at the moment. I've got 3 new palettes. Oh, you're waiting to see a consultant. Watch you later. Okay, Linda, I hope it goes well. This is a palette that I got from my stepdaughter. And this one is called... I'm going to cover them all in the next week anyway. But it's which one you want to see today. So this one is called the Makeup Revolution Pro HD. And it's called Amplified 35 palette in Neutral Warm. And I will show you the colours of that. I have a feeling when you see the other two, no disrespect to my stepdaughter, but I have a feeling you're going to choose one of the other two. But I'll show you this anyway, so that you can see what's coming up. So this is the palette here. Oh, what? You don't want to see all my background mess. Right, wait a minute. There we go. So that's the palette here. So a nice array of colours there. Okay, so that's one eye palette I could use today. But wait for it, because you know that my Jeffree Star palette arrived. And I also ordered another palette. And I think you'll probably guess what that is. Let me just put this away for a minute. So we have that palette, which I will review. And I can put on today if you so wish. We have the Jeffree Star palette, which I shall show you, is in here. There you go, Blood Sugar. Now, this is the palette that doesn't have carmine in it. Now, in case you're wondering what carmine is a red colouring that they use to... don't be so sure because you haven't seen the third option yet. And you're choosing, not me. Okay, so this is a Blood Sugar palette, and it's not got carmine in it. And carmine is a red dye that is used in eye makeup that makes pinks, purples, and reds. And it's actually made out of crushed beetles, would you believe? And that's what you're putting on your eyes a lot of the time. Jeffree doesn't use that. These are absolutely vegan. Problem is that they are dyes. Yes, beetles. Yes, carmine is crushed beetles, apparently. But this doesn't have crushed beetles in them. But all your Charlotte Tilbury does. Sorry, guys. I know. Maybe I should have kept you in the dark. But this one is carmine free. Now, the reason I'm talking about this is because a lot of people, it's quite a common allergy to be allergic to carmine. And someone in my family, I don't think she'll mind me saying, my sister can't use purple eye makeup. And I suspect that it's carmine that is causing her issue. And we also have somebody here that's following me that I won't name her in case she doesn't want me to talk about her individually. But she also can't use purple and pink eye makeup. Exactly, as long as you don't have to eat them. But this is completely carmine free. Now, as a result, he puts on the back of his palette that this should not be put near the eyes. And he explained in his video that what he's doing is he has to put that because it's got dye in it. And some people, it might stain your eyes. I didn't find it stained it any more than a Huda palette or any other palette, to be honest. So that is the Jeffree Star palette. Now, Pamela, you absolutely certain you're going to pick Jeffree Star? Because the third palette I'm going to show you is another Pat McGrath, because it came into stock. And this was the one that I wanted originally, but they didn't have it. And I'd got some Christmas money and I thought, got to get it. Got to get it. So, this is the third palette that you can choose from. And this one, let me just see if I can cover up the mirror, is here. Pat McGrath. I knew. Please do, Pat McGrath. Hi, Maureen. So you can see now, Maureen, why I didn't want to invest in another one, although I do love that emerald one. So let's have a vote. So Maureen's saying Pat McGrath. Come on, Pamela. What would you say? Pat McGrath. I think we can safely say it's going to be Jeffree Star or Pat McGrath, and no disrespect to my lovely stepdaughter. You're saying Jeffree. Oh, this is going to be fun. This might be a bit... You'll say Jeffree Blood Sugar. So that's 2 for Blood Sugar, 1 for Pat McGrath. This is going to be interesting. Jack, I've got 2 to 1 at the moment on the palettes. Let me put on my foundation. 2 to 1. Any advance while I put my... So I'm just using Giorgio Armani's Power Fabric Foundation. Now, I just... Little stop press. Are you all right, darling?
No, it's just I have a cough.
Okay. Little stop press. He's just bought out. Oh, you're changing. You're conceding, or a little of both. That's an idea. I was thinking that actually a bit of a. They might actually work together. Because they've got some similar colours. Shall I do a bit of both? That would be fun. Right, so this foundation is called Power Fabric by Giorgio Armani. Yeah. Okay. I of course got to do. Normally, actually, I know a lot of people do this. They put their eyeshadow on before their foundation. But I always scare myself when I do that because it just looks really... It puts me off because it just looks really ridiculous without foundation on, and it just looks too much. But once you've got your foundation on, you can kind of get away with the colours a lot more. Sorry, so I'm going back on this. So Power Fabric by Giorgio Armani. He has just brought out a Power Fabric concealer that promises to do all the things that Charlotte's does. I'm trying to remember how Jeffree Star talks. What's he saying? There's a saying. Can't relate. Can't relate. Sorry. Can't do Jeffree Star because I can't relate. Oh, it's oh girl, isn't it? Oh girl. That's it. Okay, I'll try. He's like, I'm like, girl. I'm like, oh, girl. So, yes, they bought out Power Fabric. I keep saying this. Power Fabric Concealer. Are we all sick of new concealers that promise to deliver the world? I certainly am. But anyway, if you like Giorgio Armani Power Fabric, which I do, I'm not going to buy another concealer because I've got concealers everywhere. But if you like Giorgio Armani Power Fabric, it's exclusive at the moment to Selfridges. I'll send you his use of Urban Dictionary words. I need to put my yellow wig on to do and I have got a yellow wig, believe it or not. It's because when Shine Spina Bifida charity, I know I did a red lip this year, but they normally it's go yellow. So I bought a yellow wig to wear for Spina Bifida Day, and Jack said to me one year, he said, if you turn up to school, he's here by the way because he's off sick. If you turn up to school dressed in yellow, I'll disown you. That's what he said. He doesn't mind me being on a mobility scooter. Red metallic mobility scooter's absolutely fine. I'm the only parent in the school, obviously, that he hasn't got any choice in that, but I'm the only parent in the school on a red metallic mobility scooter or any mobility scooter at all. And it's never worried him, never bothered him. at all. But if I turned up to school in yellow, he'd disown me. So there you go. It just goes to show, doesn't it? Now, let me just get my magic away. No, that's my...
I said I would hate you, not disown you.
I thought you said you disown. You would never hate Mummy. Would you? Excuse me if you got a shot of my backside then. Oh, I tell you what, I was having such a giggle. As you're all giggling with me, I'm just putting a bit of magic away on. I was having such a giggle last night because have you seen this? There's a new trend in bikinis. I won't go into too much depth because I've got my son here, but there's some bikinis that have come out that really go up really high up. Wear mustard with your purple makeup. Well, I've got mustard hairband on, yeah. I'm going to have to look at these two palettes in a second. They're talking about these new bikinis that are really, really... I mean, thongs isn't the word. And this woman tried to model a similar bikini, and she's just a normal, everyday woman. And she had to put, like, emoticons to cover her dignity because basically it looked obscene. And this model is lying in this bikini and she's basically saying that it couldn't possibly not be airbrushed. Anyway, I'll have to put you the link underneath because some of the comments people were putting, they were a bit vulgar, but they were so funny. Really, really funny comments because it was kind of like mocking the fact of these perfect women. That's what I liked about it. It was like this idea of perfection that really doesn't exist, and that you could see this model had been completely airbrushed within an inch of her life, even though she was like, oh, obviously if you're very slim, you're very slim, and it's not that, but she was kind of sat up in such a position that it would have been impossible for there not to be at least a little roll of skin, even if there wasn't any fat. And yet her stomach was like a washboard, completely flat. Even though she was sitting up, there was not one fold in her skin. And the way that this bikini, anyway, you've got to see it because I can't do justice to it. But anyway, I'm just going to put a little bit of this Genius magic powder under my eyes. You know, yeah, it would be nice, wouldn't it? But at the same time, I just think we're setting impossible... Women aren't kind to one another. We do set impossible ideals. I said that when Kate had her last baby. You know, the way she came out of the maternity ward. Who looks like that when they've just had a baby? I will share the bikini thing. It was hysterical. Some of the comments I couldn't actually say in front of my son because they are far too rude. But oh, I was crying with laughter. Literally crying reading them because it really just poked fun at this idea that we've all got to be perfection. And this woman was showing what you would really look like in this bikini. Yeah, I wish there was no airbrushing. That's why when I did that video yesterday of the Foreo, I thought I'm going to do the video, you know, as well as the camera so that people can see. Obviously, I think you can airbrush videos now, but believe me, I'm not technically expert enough to know how to do that. That people can see that I am not trying to fool it. There's nothing in it for me. You know, I think, to be honest, when I've got an app and I've used it once, I said on Instagram, for the interests of transparency, I've used a filter today because I hadn't put any foundation on and I put some very severe eye makeup on, a different look each eye, and I wanted people to decide which one they liked. And I hadn't got any makeup on and it looked awful because I'd got no if you've got really severe eye makeup on and you've got no foundation, it looks dreadful. So I kind of filtered in some foundation and said I filtered this in. kind of thing. But I think when you do that and then you take the filter off, you're left feeling so inadequate and so like, that's what I should look like. And yet the reality is that the photographs that you're seeing a lot on Instagram and in magazines, they've all had that done to them. So that's why I don't do it. When I post a photograph on Instagram, or unless I've said, look, I've airbrushed this for a particular reason, I don't do it because I don't want to cheat myself. I don't want to look in there and think, I wish I really looked like that. But actually, if people saw me, they'd realise I don't. I think I don't want to live like that. This is me. This is who I am. Anyway, enough talking. And I talk too much. Have you guessed? Right, I'm going to have a look and see what I can do with these two palettes. You've set me a challenge now. Oh, boy. Pat McGrath and Jeffree Star. And I've never seen a Pat McGrath video, so I don't know what she sounds like. Otherwise, I'd do an impersonation of both of them. So darlings, we have... No, that's Charlotte, isn't it? You see, I'm gonna lapse into Charlotte doing Jeffree. I'm gonna call you all darlings. I can do Charlotte very easily. So these are all the Jeffree Star colours. So there's some purples and there's some reds. But you see these reds down here. And there's that lovely red in the Pat McGrath palette as well. So I'm just wondering, reds and purples. See, we've got reds, purples and golds. And actually there's reds, purples and golds in both palettes. What to do? Okay, I'll sort something out. They're both too, and the aesthetics interesting to see how you pull off mixing them both. Yes, very. Oh, I know. My eye has fallen on a shade already. I'm going to use a transition. Now, there's transitions in both of these palettes. So, let me use a Pat McGrath one for transitioning. I should put some, I've talked too much, but I should really put some primer on my lids, but I won't. Let's go. I'm going to use this one here, this primer here. Sorry, transition shade, I should say. And I will put that in here. Oh, yes, definitely. The Pat McGrath's got to go on the centre. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I've got my eye on a shade that I'm going to use after this transition. And I'm hoping that it's going to blend in with the Pat McGrath. I could be really safe and go for one of his deep reds. But I'm not going to be safe. I'm going to try something. Because you know me. So, I'm going to go for this shade, which is... It might not work, but I'm sure I can make it work. I fancy going for this shade, which is called Cavity, here. And then kind of blending it gradually in until I use that red shimmer of Pat McGrath's and the rose gold, which, by the way, is a shade that Jack likes. And I might use some of his reds if it doesn't kind of blend in seamlessly to the Pat McGrath. But let's just give it a go. So we're going in on Cavity, which is kind of, a bright cerise. I'll just knock some of that off. Make sure that I have not got... I think even if I knock some of it off, it's going to look pretty stark. So this is Cavity, and I will do a full review of both palettes. So as I'm concentrating doing this shadow, please feel free to chat away. What did you think of the Foreo follow-up? I'm surprised, Pamela, that you haven't used your Foreo yet. I was wondering why. Maybe it was time, it's a personal reason. Or maybe I just wondered if you were feeling a bit intimidated by it. Because I think some people are at the beginning. And I can understand why. Now I'm going to use... Oh, right. Fair enough. I thought maybe you were a bit kind of, oh God, what mask do I use? Oh, because sometimes I get like that. I'm going to use now Fresh Meat to kind of build up some intensity, which is down here. That one. They're quite well named, actually. They kind of really look like the name, if you know what I mean. That to me looks like the colour of sort of fresh steak. Oh, thank you. Jack, you're very quiet. Oh, I hope Pamela's seen that. Thorndyke's asking about your thoughts on the Foreo. I also had somebody asking about, sorry, I've forgotten your name again. Someone saying that our hubby, very lucky girl, said her husband had got her the Dr. Dennis Gross face mask for Christmas, I think. Oh, I don't know whether he got it for Christmas, but she was wondering whether or not the Foreo would be better, and I said I didn't think so. I think the Spectralite's probably a higher grade clinical thing, but I remembered that Shoshana's got the, if anyone wants to know about the Spectralite, I think Shoshana's got that one. Now, so that one was called Fresh Meat, and then I'm going to build it right up into the corner even further. I'll just dab it on with this and I'll use Extraction. There's a darker one called Coma, but I'm going to use Extraction, which is this one here. And then I'm going to try and start blending in some Pat McGrath. Just patting some on at the moment. Okay, no worries, Maureen. Hope the baby gets up, settled soon. This one is called Extraction. So this one is at the end here, called Extraction. Okay? Now, the only annoying thing about the Pat McGrath one, I don't know whether it is annoying actually, maybe not, is that all the names are underneath. Pamela, I'm interested to know why you think you couldn't pull off Jeffree Star. What makes you think? Because actually, like if you look at Blood Sugar, the actual the eyeshadow that is named after the palette, and then you look at Pat McGrath, they're not actually that dissimilar. Because I do wonder sometimes whether it's the marketing or whether it is actually the eyeshadow. I'd be interested to know why you think you couldn't pull off Jeffree Star. I like to challenge. You can get some very, very... Look, he's got some... Again, I keep trying to cover up the mirror so that you... Sorry, but he's got some... I did a really simple daytime look the other day with this. He's got some lovely peachy tones, and you can blend these in. It's also about... and gold and whatever. You don't have to kind of go in straight with bright purple or anything. So... I'll tell you what I will do. I will do a kind of sort of more daytime look at some point using his palette to show you, because I think you'd be surprised. I think sometimes it's the marketing. That's why I kind of challenge it. Now, I'll tell you what I'm doing right now. Sorry. I am putting a bit of... with my fingers, I am putting a bit of Blitz Flame from the Pat McGrath palette onto the lid. You'll stick with the Beatles. I love it. Yeah, so now I'm putting Beetlejuice on my eyes as opposed to dye.
Ew.
Most red makeup, Jack, has got something called carmine in it, which is actually the product of crushed beetles. But this palette doesn't have it in, so this is completely vegan, and it uses dyes instead.
Oh.
But this palette, I don't know actually. I better be careful because Pat McGrath might be completely vegan, but I know for sure that Jeffrey's is. And some palettes say they're vegan, and yet they've got carmine in them. So I don't know how they get away with that. I'm not vegan, and I respect that it's very important to some people. Do not get me wrong, but it's not really a concern of mine. Right, so I've now put on the Pat McGrath, this shadow here. Are you all right there? Do you want to come and say hello? Is that it? Jack's in his Gryffindor dressing gown, and he's got his can I tell them? Your cat. He's got a cuddly cat called Lucky, which is named after my sister's cat, who he loved, absolutely adored, and the cat adored him, and unfortunately was run down in a car accident a few months ago. So now Jack's got a cuddly cat that looks just like him, and he takes him to bed. And so that's Lucky. Yeah. He said, "Hi, Jack." Thorndyke, yeah. He waved at you there. So, yeah, I've just gone in with this one here, and I've patted it on with my fingers. I'm going to blend all this together a bit in a minute. Oh, right, the snail cream. I wondered what that's like. Oh, Maria Lovell saying, "Hi, Jack." Thank you, Maria. And then I've got to use this rose gold because I love it. And Jack loves it. This is the one you picked out, wasn't it, Jack? Yesterday when I said, what colour shall I put on my eyes? This is the colour you picked out, so we'll put that on. Slimy. But how does it make your skin feel? I've probably missed this. I haven't read up enough about this. What are the specific... Oh, look at that. What are the specific benefits of snail slime? Look at that. Oh, we say that with a Pat McGrath. Oh, look at that. Moisture. It is funny the lengths we go to, isn't it, for beauty? I think, you know, if we told our other halves what we put on our face. Okay, I'm going to just start blending a bit of that in because obviously at the moment, and I need, don't forget that it's going to look a bit strange until you start working under your eyes and blending it out of the top. But I somehow feel that I just need something a bit more. Do you know what? I'm going to go in with the Pat McGrath. I could go in with the Jeffree Star, but I'm going to go in with the Pat McGrath. And I'm just going to build up the corner and up here with something a little bit darker, just to make it all come together a bit more. And this one is called, so I'm using this one here, and this is called Extreme Aubergine. Yeah, look at that. Just pat that along there. That works. And it works so well with Jeffree's. So thank you, guys, for suggesting I mix the two together. Oh, look at that. Now, just blend some of that out. Blend, blend, blend. And then I'll do under my eyes. And then I'll do what I did last week, I think, is I'll put the finished look on Instagram, and I'll post a little, I might come back and do a very short live to say this is the finished look later on, once I've kind of done my brows and my mascara and everything else, so that you can see it all come together. Because otherwise I tend to be on here for 3 hours. So this is Helena. Hi Jackie, hi Helena. This is the, do you know, I have to check because they're all such similar names. It is the Pat McGrath. Oh, where's your name? Where are you? It is, oh, it's a shame Maureen's not here because she'd help me with this. The Mothership. Of course, they're all Mothership. I think it's the Mothership 5. Mothership 5 bronze. Where's the... Can anyone tell me where the name is of the palette on the box? I know it's Mothership 5. And it's bronze something. Bronze Ambition, I think. If I show it you, I can't find the name of it anywhere. If I show it you can see which one. So it's got rose gold. But it's definitely Mothership 5. It just says Mothership 5 on the back. But it's Mothership 5 bronze something. And I'm using, we're combining that with Jeffree Star's Blood Sugar palette. Because you guys like setting me a challenge, and I like taking it up. Alright, so I'm going to just go underneath with a little bit of, where's my smudgy pencil? A bit more smudgy. I'm going to go underneath with a little bit of, what should I use? I'll go in with a little bit of that fresh meat. And then I will put a little bit of cavity underneath, which is a very bright. And then with an eyeliner brush, I'm going to go in with Coma on the Jeffree Star palette, which is the very darkest purple. See what it looks like with that aubergine. I think they're quite similar, even though they don't look it. So this is the Pat McGrath darkest colour in her palette, and it's aubergine. And this one is the darkest one in Jeffree's. Oh, you see, there's more pink in his. But I'm not convinced if it's worth keeping it. I've missed some of that conversation, I think. You're not convinced it's worth keeping what, Jackie? Sorry, I missed some of that. Let me just live chat. Oh, on that palette. Which palette? Are you talking about the Pat McGrath or the... Are you talking about the Pat McGrath or are you talking about the Jeffree Star? Because I'm using both. I have to say that the other one that I got, the 6 colour one, blew me away more in terms of the formula. I love the colours on this. But the formula, okay, the formula for the smaller bronze ambition palette that I got seemed a bit creamier. But they're both great. I love them. So now I'm just going to... I can't be bothered, guys, to get up and get another brush, and I probably should. But there you go. I'm just going to take a thicker brush, and I'm going to go in with Cake Mix. You could go in with the Pat McGrath, but this one is Cake Mix from the Jeffree Star palette at the top. And I'm just going to... In fact, I'm going to go in with Sugar Cane, which is the second lightest one. Next to that, oh, here we go, there, that one there, Sugar Cane, and I'm going to use that to just kind of blend this out at the top. Do you see how that helps you to just blend it away to nothing? See? So, yeah, for those of you that have joined me, I've spent all week feeling like I'm a condemned woman because both my partner and Jack have had norovirus, but I've managed to escape it so far. So every time I say that, I touch wood. Right. I did try last week to use this intravenous colour, which looks very brown at the top, to do my brows. But it actually came out quite red, and I looked like I had kind of redhead brows, which looked a bit weird. So I'm not doing that again. Oops, nearly dropped the palette then. So there you have it. I'm probably going to have to go and finish this off and then post a bit later. I'll come back and say, here I am to guys that haven't got... clean this up. Here I am to the guys that haven't got Instagram, and I'll post a picture on Instagram, because otherwise this is going to go on for hours and hours. Was there anything else that you wanted to ask me? I'll tell you what I'll do while I'm talking to you, is I'll put a bit of Charlotte's Film Star Bronze and Glow on, just to give me a bit more colour in my cheeks. I'll use the light to medium. I've got both. I've got her medium to dark, and I've got a light to medium. I don't know what it is at the moment, but I do feel like I'm suddenly gone very pale. Okay, let me get a brush. This will actually come together a lot once I get my mascara on and that, but I always just think putting mascara on a live video is like watching paint dry. Anyone got any other questions about either the palettes or any of my recent videos? Oh, and Thorndyke, would you like me to do a video specifically on hyperpigmentation and what I've been using? Because I can do that coming up soon as well. I've got a few I want to do, and I want to You've watched paint dry. Right, Film Star Bronze and Glow. Okay, I'll do that. I'm just putting some bronzer on. I don't know if it's the light, but I think it's not. I think I am looking a bit pale at the moment. Hopefully it's not the beginnings of norovirus. I can't believe I haven't caught it yet. I don't want to tempt fate. Because it's quite contagious, and normally if you get it, one person gets it in the family, then everyone gets it. But I seem to have escaped it. So I'm just now using the contour as a bit of a sculpt. Do you know what? I really feel like I need the dark one at the moment. Thank you so much. You enjoy the videos even when they're not short. Oh yes. Do you want me to put that on? I'll do that. Let me put this bronzer on and I'll get the Pat McGrath lipstick. Do you know what? When I got the second palette, I got Jack to fish around in that paper in case something else was in there too. I'm sure it was a mistake because I haven't heard that happen. Has anyone else had anything extra thrown in on their first order? Because I think, right, so I'm going to use Charlotte's. What, it happened to you? Oh, well, maybe it is first orders then. What, you had something in the paper? Right, I'm just using Charlotte's medium to dark. That looks better on me at the moment. Medium to dark. Film Star Bronze and Glow. Have you guys seen this one, by the way? I'll show you the highlighter. A lot of people say it's more like a blush because it's orange. But actually, when it goes on the skin, it's really weird. It doesn't... I just stuck my nail in that. That was clever. It doesn't look orange. It just looks like a highlight. It's really weird. I'll show you. It sort of warms up your complexion a bit, but I don't think it looks orange. People go, I can't use that, I just look orange. She's a genius, our Charlotte. Although I still prefer the highlighter in the light to medium palette. But that's given me a bit more colour. Right, Pat McGrath lipstick coming up. Jack Attack. Hello, could you do Mummy a favour, please? Could you just pass me that lipstick? You know the one that I put... Oops, you're right. That one, no, keep going over next to the pink thing. That's it. That's the one. Thank you, darling. Dropping everything here. So, this is the lipstick that I found. I'm just, in case I've missed out. You ordered the Pat McGrath lipstick after I showed... I'm interested to know... Oh, me too is to do with something else. I just wondered if somebody had got... had ever ended up with something extra in their Pat McGrath parcel, or whether it was just a fluke. Okay, so there is the lipstick. Look at that. I just love the look of the outside of it. And the tube. I think it must have been a mistake. I wasn't invoiced for it. And if you're watching Pat McGrath, please don't invoice me for it. because I have told you a couple by the sounds of it. Wonder what... No, let's try this. I'm not going to be... No, it's too glittery to try on my cheeks. I was going to put that on my cheek. I know. £31. No, it wasn't written on the invoice. It was just in the parcel. So the invoice said 1 pallet. And I put my hand in because it's my first order with her. And I thought maybe she sends samples like Charlotte Tilbury. So I thought before I chuck the parcel away, I better just delve around. I delved around and pulled this out. So yeah, and it didn't happen on my second order. But isn't it lovely? Anyway, Pat McGrath, if you're watching, it won't have done you any harm because I probably wouldn't have gone on to purchase your lipsticks because I've got so many Charlotte ones, but you've tempted me now, so it was a good plan, even if it was a mistake. It was a good mistake to make. Not that my bank manager will agree with you. Anyway, so that's it. And I will do my mascara and my brows and do a bit of finishing off and spraying and everything else. You've had 10 orders. Oh, that's not on. They should send you something. Isn't there a loyalty scheme? Do you know what? When I looked at these lipsticks as well, what was bizarre is this would have been the one I chose. I tell you what, though, those packages, Maureen, when you go, well, you know if you've had 10 orders. It is like a lucky dip, isn't it? There's sort of the tissue paper that it comes in is like tiny little strips of, and it's very easy not to see something in it. So the second parcel I got, I could promise you, we pulled it out, we pulled it all apart. It looks like straw to make sure there was nothing in there. Anyway, I'm going to go. I will finish off this look. I might come back and do a very quick 2-minute live to show you the finished look, and then I'll post it on Instagram. Oh, no. Well, she's not going to get charged for it, is she? She'll just ring up, I hope. Anyway, that happened. Do you know what? I got somebody's handbag at Christmas, and I said, thanks for the handbag, but I ordered a cardigan. Did you hear that? Sent that one back. Anyway, have a great day, everyone. And I'll come back very briefly to show you the finished look, and then I'll post it on Instagram. All right. Take care. Oh, sorry about that, Terry. But I hope you enjoyed.